I Have a Rendezvous with Death by Alan Schneider. I have a rendezvous with death at some disputed barricade. When spring comes back with rustling shade and apple blossoms fill the air, I have a rendezvous with death. When spring brings back blue days and fair, it may be he shall take my hand and lead me into his dark land and close my eyes and quench my breath. It may be shall pass him still. I have a rendezvous with death on some scarred slope of a battered hill. When spring comes around again this year and the first meadow flowers appear, God knows 'twere be too deep, pillow and silk and send down where love throbs out blissful sleep, pulse nine to pulse and breath to breath, where hush or wakens are dear. But I have a rendezvous with death at the midnight in some flaming town, when spring trips north again this year. And I to my pledge, word I'm true, I shall not fail that rendezvous. I Have a Revenue with Death uses dictation, repetition, personification, even rhyme scheme to relate to the reader that an inevitable and unpredictable death is not something to be feared, but rather calmly accept and perhaps even anticipate. Type of poetry: a combination of narrative and dramatic. Structure: stanzaic. Similes or metaphors. At midnight in some flaming town could be a metaphor using midnight as in a time of day and flaming town as in something on fire. Symbols: where love thralls out blissful she. I think this is a symbol alluding to death. Personification: it may be he shall take my hand and lead me into his dark land, is a personification of death because it is making death a person. Imagery: apple blossoms fill the air, or a scarred slope of a battered hill. Repetition: I have a revenue with death appears a lot in poem. Rhyme: such as deep, sleep, breath, death, hand, land, and these are all in rhymes. Pace or rhyme: in shall take my hand. Take is stressed, shall is unstressed, my is unstretched, and hand is stressed. In shall take my hand. Tone and mood: peaceful and willing and knowing that death is coming. Alliteration: on some scarred slope, when spring brings back blue days and fair. Consonants: pillow and silk and scented down. Assonants: come, found again this year. Alan Schneider was born in 1888 and died in 1916. An American poet known for his World War I poems, Schneider was born in New York City and educated at Harvard University when he went to Paris in 1912, where he learned in the Latin Quarter and wrote romantic poetry. At the outbreak of World War I in 1914, he joined the French Foreign Legion. Schneider continued to write poetry during the war. His poems acquired a mature and reflectingness quality and accumulated his famous I Have a Revenue with Death. Schneider was killed at the Boyne de Sana in June 14, 1916. His poems were published that same year. On July 4, 1923, the President of France, Councillor Kate, dedicated a monument to American soldiers who had volunteered to fight in World War I in service of France. Other interesting facts: I Have a Revenue with Death was one of President Kennedy's favorite poems. In the film Line of Fire, he cites it as Kennedy's favorite poem and as not a very good poem, which I strongly disagree. A shorter version of I Have a Revenue with Death was featured in the Zopus Koshul directed trailer for the video game Gears of War in its debut during E3 2008.
I can't keep pace.